People are consuming content both in the theatre and the OTT space. So I wanted to be present in both. He is fine-tuning something that is already perfect, that only he has an eye for, and only he can do that process. We're in a profession that where your personal life also is part of the headline. So I think you just need to come to terms with it. Our cinema is being looked up by a world audience. So that's what we should focus on, not this north-south and all that.
Hi guys, this is Ankita. You're tuned into peepingmoon.com, and today we are bringing you somewhere from down south. Well, that's a debate I'm definitely not getting into, but Naga Chaitanya is here with Laal Singh Chaddha making his remarkable Bollywood debut because he's creating all the right noises. So welcome, Naga.
Thank you so much.
First thing first, almost like Forrest Gump adaptation, almost a 30-year-old film which has been now be adapted into a Bollywood movie. Why did you choose this one to foray into Hindi film industry? I would not be calling it Bollywood rather.
Well, sometimes, there's everything just happens and the reason is later understood. That's what I personally believe in. Why did it take me so long to come in? From the starting of my career, I've always, my heart and soul has always been with Telugu cinema because I come from Telugu cinema, my family comes from there. There's this huge legacy we have and there's a lot of responsibility. So efforts were always there to keep making myself better and better at it. When I enter into, I always thought for myself, when I enter into another language, say Bollywood, such a huge market, so many actors, so much talent that's already been owned by the audience. I wanted to be handheld by someone and, brought in here and presented here. Looked after rather. So, when Aamir sir came and, he wanted me to be a part of the film, there's no other better opportunity than that. So, yeah, I think that's how it just organically happened.
This is a year of debuts of sorts for you. This year and almost the half of next year, making your foray into, if I'm not wrong, the Tamil film with Venkat Prabhu's film, and there is Jhota for another OTT platform.
Right.
So is this 2.0, Naga 2.0, we are having three different sort of debuts?
Honestly, the OTT and the Venkat Prabhu film, both were planned. I wanted to specifically get into the OTT space because I felt that going down the line, it's becoming stronger and stronger. People are consuming content both in the theatre and the OTT space. So I wanted to be present in both. And with Tamil, I've grown up in Chennai. And it's been very close to me always. I always wanted to be a part of a Tamil film, but never found the right neutral script that I could present to both Telugu and Tamil. And with Venkat Prabhu, he's such a big director in Tamil, and we met one day and jammed over a few ideas, and it just happened. It happened. But with Laal Singh, I never expected it to happen, never planned for it to happen. This one was just a big bonus for me.
I read it somewhere, Naga, that you always go to your films or you sit on your film's edit when you feel that it's not in the sync of how your vision for a project is like. And Aamir, back in Bollywood, is also known to be somebody who's very particular with his edit. Like, he will make sure that his film is nurtured and cared, and he'll give years to just one project. So here, how was it? It's like you found somebody of the same wavelength.
No, don't compare both of us. Yeah, not at
all. Come
all.
on, this is the same of the wavelength.
Not at all. I mean, when probably from what you're referring to about me, sometimes when we listen to a script and we shoot it, it sort of translates differently.
Of course. A paper to screen.
Yeah. Sometimes it just flows beautifully. You see the same product being, reflected on screen. But sometimes it doesn't reflect that way. So you need to spend some time on edit, just sort of correcting it or sort of reiterating and figuring out how we can bring it back to that path. But with Aamir sir, it's a very different process. He is fine-tuning something that is already perfect, that only he has an eye for, and only he can do that process. And such processes you cannot mimic. It needs to come, the passion, the love, the dedication needs to come from within. Just as an example, like, if I watch a film, if I watch my film more than like 5 to 10 times in the edit room, I tend to lose judgment. That innocence goes away. But he'll watch his film, 100 times, and every time he'll still tear up. He'll still have that innocence. So it's very different people doing very different processes.
You're also a director's actor. Like, you really surrender yourself to the director at the helm of the project. And again, you will say, why you asking me this? But then Aamir has time and again proved to be a great person in directorial seats. Whenever he has filled in for instances, like back, and I remember in Tare Zameen Par, the film was at a stage where he had to take over the reins. Did you also happen to see the glimpse of this man more like a director shadow on the sets as well? Because he's known to be somebody who can deeply look into the craft.
I think Aamir sir is a kind of person who understands that everything about the film needs to work for the film to work, on a large scale for a wholesome success. It's not only his role,
Exactly.
all the actors around him need to work. The camera crew, the direction department, the art, every aspect of that film needs to shine. Only then the film will shine on the whole. So he's aware of everything. He's making sure the synergy happens in the right way. He's making sure everyone is flowing together. So that supervision is always there, and I think that is the process that he brings to that actually makes him the perfectionist.
Do you realize that you and your father, not likely locking horns, but are just coming to the
1 month apart.
1 month apart from each other? He's coming in from Master, you're in Laal Singh Chaddha. How's the synergy back at home?
Literally not locking horns. I mean, we're both
Not
playing
locking.
some really special roles in some very special
Special
films.
films.
So yeah, we were excited. We did speak about it. In fact, he's always looked to Hindi to sort of again experiment with roles,
Yes.
do some special characters, explore himself as an actor more. And I think the same thing happened to me. I got such a special role in this film. I don't think back home, I don't know if I'd be able to pull off something like this, or how I would be accepted if I did something like this. So I'm presenting myself to a completely new audience who's viewing me from a very neutral space, which gives me the opportunity to explore myself.
Before I move to any other question, I really want to know, how did Aamir spot you? Balaraju is your character's
Yes.
name in the film.
Yes.
How did he found his Balaraju Naga Chaitanya?
I don't know. I ask him that all the time. Also, like, so why did you pick me? I ask his team also. And somewhere they told me, no, they watched few of your interviews and they liked something about you and they felt you'll fit the character. But yeah, I mean, whatever it is, I'm sure only he knows the answer and I'm thankful for that.
You are aware now your visit to Sanjay Leela Bhansali's office,
Huh.
like last night, if I'm not mistaken, or a day or two back,
Yeah.
has again started this entire chain of reaction. Your grandfather played the role of Devadasu back
Yeah.
in 1950s,
Right.
and your fans are asking that Bhansali Saab should have a modern
No,
rendition
no.
with Naga in the front line. How do you see to that?
No, please don't.
It's literally all over the internet.
Please don't jump to any conclusions on that. Like, I look up to a lot of filmmakers here and always, want to go pay my respects that I'm coming into this industry. So it was such a casual meeting. It's not what it's looking out to be on social
But will
media.
you be okay if a Devdas 20 years later a version is coming and somebody walks up to you to maybe, do the same thing which your grandfather did?
I mean, yeah, I'm heavily inspired by that film. I don't think I would remake the film frame to frame, but if there is a newer adaptation of it, like I remember there was this, the Dev D.
Dev D with
yeah,
Abhi
it was
Deol
just
did.
such a new age adaptation.
New age adaptation.
Yeah, which I loved. So, if we can take that core and get inspired by it and be able to adapt it with, with our own tastes and our own approach, yeah, of course, I'd love to do something like that.
Now you have been an active artist, I would say, for more than a decade, 12 years to you in the film.
Yeah.
What started off as a solid romantic hero image and then breaking out with the performances like Manjali, and now we have, of course, you're falling into the Hindi language. Where do you see comes your drive for picking out the projects? Because as you said, you've been doing multiple things now, falling into the Tamil, then we have the OTT. But what is it that gets you to set every day?
It's the content, honestly. It's the script that was told to me and the character I'm playing. I mean, that is the drive that takes me. It's how much I connect to it that, sort of takes me to work and gets me excited about it. Yeah, so it's purely the writing.
It's purely the writing.
Yeah.
You also understand that you have been in news so much so, which is not related to your work also. Does it also takes away from the craft or the aspect of acting which you would also like the world to know? Because with due respect, your personal news at times take the precedence over the professional commitments which you are part of.
Yes.
Do you also feel the brunt of it?
No, I would never let it affect my work. honestly, I won't let anything affect my work. If something is affecting my work, I won't go to work. Yeah, meaning I'm saying that's the approach I rather take.
Yeah.
I will not let anything spill over to work. But because also, I think we need to understand that, we're in a profession that where your personal life also is part of the headline. So I think you just need to come to terms with it, and beyond a point, don't worry about it. Don't care about it. It'll be fine. It'll pass.
It's a bad joke which I'm going to make, but especially the spilling of coffee has been all over the place. So the spilling of coffee has been all over the place, so I am not taking it any further with you. But again, a controversial question of sorts. But then, what is your take in simple words? This entire lovely debate we are having these days, that the content which is made back down south is probably of a supreme quality, is able to bring in the numbers, and when we are making the things in Bollywood, it's not converting into the same digits on the box office.
Right.
Here the irony I ask you is because I have one of the leading men down south working with one of the stars in Bollywood in a pan-Indian film. How do you see this entire?
It's just a phase. I mean, I think we've all made brilliant films. North, South, East, West, everyone's made. And at that point of time, whichever film relates to the majority of the audience, that's a film that's talked about. Now, yes, recently from South, we've made these brilliant films that are talked about. But also, having said that, I would like to say that down South, we've always made these kind of films. It's just that of late, we've gotten this exposure because of OTT and YouTube and all that, that a larger section of the audience is watching our films and they're appreciating it more. But we've always made this texture of films. I'm sure it's just around the corner for Bollywood to come out with an amazing film that's going to be talked about, for the next days to come. But finally, what I'd like to conclude on this by saying is Indian cinema is becoming one. Look at that. Don't look at North, South and all this. Look at that Indian cinema is becoming one. There's such an amazing synergy that's happening between actors, between makers. And we are being positioned in the world. Our cinema is being looked up by a world audience. So that's what we should focus on, not this North, South and all that.
Yeah, I remember Russo brothers were in India and Dhanush, who was a part of Grey Man. They were like, for us, it was an Indian actor we are casting. We were not looking at which region you are coming from.
Exactly.
Because I remember there was a line in the film, somebody said, "Hi, my sexy Tamil friend," and it became again you were bifurcating. And they were like, it was just a way to just maybe introduce somebody, but we technically view actors just as Indian actors. We don't say that, oh, Priyanka Chopra is from Bollywood. For us, she's an Indian actor. And that's it.
Absolutely.
Do you see yourself in a space where if a Hollywood offer comes your way, so your representation is coming from India and that's it, and no other language you are going
Absolutely. I'm very proud to be Indian. I would love to showcase that culture to the world. So absolutely, would love to do it.
On a lighter note, is there a certain kind of template you have in mind to make your Hollywood foray? You want to do a very superhero-ish kind of thing? Just why not?
No. There's no fixed template in my mind. It's honestly whatever that content is that's been presented to me. I like to take a call based on that.
And you'll be okay taking that kind of content if it comes your way?
Absolutely. I mean, as an actor, I crave for maximum exposure. And when you're exposed on a bigger platform that's consumed by a larger section of the audience, that's what I crave for.
But thank you so much. You've been such a delight.